Over the last 8 years, the number of companies on LinkedIn has nearly quadrupled. And this means there are millions and millions of business owners using LinkedIn that could be interested in your services. You just need to be able to have them find you. I want you to imagine having 5 to 15 qualified sales calls every single month, all from just leveraging LinkedIn correctly. The problem is most B2B agency owners, experts, and consultants are either stuck relying on inbound leads from motivational posts that make them look cringy, or they're still using copy and paste DM methods from 2015, or they're still using spam copy and paste DM in mail messages that might have worked in 2015, and now they're just annoying their customers. A lot of you might be doing both of those, to be honest with you. And that's totally fine. There's not a lot of education out there on how to properly use LinkedIn as a B2B founder to get more leads. So right now, I'm going to show you the exact system I've used to help B2B businesses sign high-ticket clients consistently and predictably using their socials. And after helping over 50 of these founders book hundreds of calls in the past 12 months, I've cracked the code on what actually converts traffic into book calls and paying clients. Here are just some results, by the way, just so you know I'm not lying. So yeah, if you want to finally turn your LinkedIn and also Twitter, which I'll touch on, into a reliable revenue stream for your business, watch this video until the end because I'm going to reveal the two-step, and yes, 2 steps, that's all it takes, 2-step system that separates businesses who struggle on socials from those who use it to consistently and predictably fill their pipeline with premium clients. So let's get into it. Now, what makes LinkedIn lead generation look dead or, look cringy? Because when you go on the platform, you're flooded with posts like this that, no one really wants to read. It's kind of slop. You even go on Twitter, looked up LinkedIn cringe, and there are thousands and thousands of posts. So it's a platform that's looked very down upon, which is completely fair. However, there's another side to LinkedIn that 99% of B2B founders aren't leveraging right now simply because of this, thought in their mind, which once again is completely fair. But there is that other side that if you, leverage correctly, you'll be easily booking 5 to 15 calls per month. And like I said, I've seen this across 50 accounts on LinkedIn in the past 12 months. It's simple 2-step system I'm about to go over right now. So for context, how LinkedIn really works and just socials in general. Clients and sales come from trust. When your peers recognize you as a go-to expert, when respected names are endorsing you, and when it's clear you've delivered consistent and predictable results with a proven method. Look at guys like Chase Diamond, Dylan Hay, Nick Shackelford. They have multi-million-dollar businesses that were almost completely scaled off their socials, their LinkedIn, their Twitter, posting every day for years on years on years. Those guys are the ultimate authority within their niches. Chase Diamond, ecom, email marketing, Dylan Hay, SaaS, etc., etc. These guys have built their LinkedIn accounts to become go-to experts within their niche, and it's why they're able to have so much success with their business. Their sales calls become easier, hiring becomes easier, everything within their business becomes easier because they have those, that backload of posts for the past 3-4 years every single day. They have so much respect in their niches because they've leveraged LinkedIn and Twitter correctly. And that's the entire goal of LinkedIn, is to earn trust and turn it into a repeatable process at scale. That's how you create authority that drives inbound sales month after month. Here's a great stat I love to bring up. 77% of B2B buyers are more likely to purchase when they see the CEO active on social media. Not sure where this exact source is from, but Katie's pretty trustworthy, so I'll take her word for it. So now onto the 2-part framework, and the first pillar of this is the first pillar of this is content, and subtitle here is leads over likes, because that is the way we approach content, and it's the way you should approach content if you actually want to book calls, because a lot of lead gen agencies that utilize LinkedIn and Twitter, they chase leads instead of likes. They build their offer around getting you followers, which is completely irrelevant when it comes to revenue. And they optimize for a steady stream of dopamine from the wrong audience engaging with your content. So, they promise you all the likes, all the followers in the world, which is great. But that doesn't mean revenue. And at the end of the day, the only reason to post on LinkedIn or Twitter is to close more deals, book more calls. So I'm going to show you these 2 different posts. I just pulled this randomly off the internet. This one's mine. So this post, it's super, super broad, a super, super engageable topic that everyone can relate to, coronavirus, and it went berserk, whatever, 3 million impressions. This is the type of post that feels really, really good. You'll get a ton of dopamine, 5,000 likes. You know, when you sign on to a lead gen agency, if they print out a post like this and you get 3 million impressions, they're like, oh, great job. Like, you got me 3 million impressions. That's awesome. That's hopefully that grows the business. And you know, it never does. Maybe this guy, I don't know who this is, to be honest, but if this was, let's say, an agency owner, this might bring him one book call. And I'm not even kidding. I actually have a good story about this, and I wrote a tweet about it. 8 months ago at the agency I used to work with, we had a post that got 1 million impressions. Just a random post, it popped off. It was the founder of an AI SaaS company. He booked 0 calls with 1 million impressions. I don't know, 3,000 likes, thousands of comments, 1 million eyeballs, 0 pipe, like, and we were shocked. But it just comes back to this principle of leads over likes. Likes, like J.K. Molina says, likes ain't cash. So you look at like a post like this that's super easy to engage with, that, you know, anyone can like, anyone can comment. This is not going to get you leads. What is this? So this is one of my posts. It probably got 8 to 10 likes, and that's because only founders, CEOs that post on LinkedIn would actually care about this, or founders and CEOs that are thinking about posting on LinkedIn would care about this. There's not a huge, you know, total addressable market that would be able to engage with this post. So immediately with this hook, I'm taking out everyone who's not a founder or CEO posting 5 times a week on LinkedIn, or just thinking about posting 5 times a week on LinkedIn. It's super narrowed down, so I'm not going to get a ton of likes. I'm only going to get likes from people who are, once again, founders, CEOs. And this is my ICP. That's all that matters, is I'm targeting people within my ICP, people that pay the bills. Because let's say I write a super general, super broad post that appeals to a whole bunch of marketers, and I get 100 likes. Probably 99% of those are people I can't work with, that, you know, I can't sign as a client. So what was the point of me getting 100 likes on a super, you know, broad post like that? So this post probably got, I can't see it, probably got, you know, maybe 6 to 10 likes. However, I post 5 times a week like this, and the amount of inbound leads I've gotten with under 400 followers on LinkedIn, it's incredible. And it's simply because I'm providing value to the people that pay my invoices, the people that I sign as clients, and that's it. I don't speak to anyone else other than B2B agency owners, founders, CEOs, posting on LinkedIn, posting on Twitter. Those are the only people I care about reading my content. I don't need this type of engagement to build a 6-7 figure agency with LinkedIn. And that's really what it comes down to: leads over likes. Stop posting super, you know, general broad content. Narrow your focus down. So if you're an email marketing agency owner, speak only to e-com brands. If you're a B2B paid ads agency owner, only speak to B2B companies. It's really that simple. You just have to sacrifice the, you know, amount of views you get on your posts, because it's not going to be that much if you're doing it right. Because, you know, the purpose of your content as a B2B business owner is to build credibility with the right audience, as I just said. And to attract the right followers, you need the right kind of content. So specifically, that means case studies, your expertise, your personal growth stories that are tied to your service, timely topics in your niche, and your strong opinions. And that way, when a qualified prospect comes across your profile, they instantly read your post and say, oh, hey, you know, Aiden, he posted about this. He has a win here. He's talking about this topic. He obviously has a really tight grip on his industry. He's getting a bunch of wins. You know, this is a guy that, you know, I can trust. And once again, that's the whole goal of content. So posting the right kind of stuff, not this super broad, fluffy stuff that doesn't move the needle at all. And this can be a whole nother video about how to actually write these and what makes good content. I'll save that for another time. So how much should you post? Super simple, 5 to 7 times a week. I lean more towards 5 because weekends engagement can be a lot lower. 1 case study, 3 strategics, trends, tactical advice, 1 lead magnet post, and then 1 personal. I know that's like 6 posts, so yeah, you can kind of play around with this volume mix, but this is what I see works best. The second pillar, and it's just as important as the content, is DMs. And the reason DMs are so important is because you can't just rely on inbound leads. You can't just throw posts into the outer space and hope that they're going to book you calls, because sure, you will get inbound leads from posting on LinkedIn and posting really good stuff. It happens all the time. However, it's not consistent. It's not predictable. What is predictable is sending DMs to people who have already shown interest in your content, shown interest in your profile, etc. And I'm going to get into that a little later. But the most important principle to understand when sending DMs on LinkedIn, DMs on Twitter, is being a human. Sorry, this isn't aligned, but this is an example of bad outreach, and it's why, this is what pretty much everyone is doing on LinkedIn. This is what the bar is. People are sending, I got this off the internet, this is just like a random, but people are sending copy and paste scripts through InMail, hoping they're going to book calls with, scripts that are obviously just, they copy and paste it. Even, it's easy to tell when someone's using AI to personalize it as well. Whereas if you can actually sit down, read through their profile, read through their about section, where are they from, what have they done, what offer do they run, and send them a super hyper personalized DM, your response rates are going to 10x. Right now we're getting about 35 to 60% response rates with this kind of DM. And I would call this a 10 out of 10 outreach. It got me a response, booked a call. It's that simple. And I'll break down the framework in a second, but you can just see how this DM couldn't have been sent to anyone else on the planet besides this guy Vex. And that's what people really appreciate, is when you take the time to, like I said, go through all of their stuff and make it obvious that you cared about the DM you're writing them. People really do appreciate it, in contrast with stuff like this that people see all the time on LinkedIn. This does take more effort, but it will 10x your results. So that's the first thing. Act like a human. Don't be super salesy. Be super genuine, and you're just trying to see, can I help this person? So that's the first part of DMs, is acting like a human. Now the framework, because we don't have scripts, we have frameworks for DMs. And this is the one I stick to. I got it from Ty Frankel. Shout out him. He's an absolute beast on LinkedIn. He's literally grown his business off just DMs on LinkedIn, which is pretty incredible. But this is the kind of script he uses. It's, hey, first name, thanks for connecting, restrained compliment, business question, authority building observation, and then another personal connection. And I can dive deep into this script later in a different video, but this is, if you kind of stick to this, keep it super personalized, make it abundantly clear that you went through the prospect's profile, you'll get so many responses. More responses means more conversations means more booked calls, etc., down the line. You'll have more sales. Here's another example. This is a DM that booked me a call with a 7-figure SaaS company. And it's just, I couldn't have sent this to anyone else but this guy. And it worked really well. Now, who do you DM? This is one of the most important parts, because you can't just... Now, who do you DM to get the best results? The highest leverage people to reach out to are those who already know you. So that's new followers, commenters, likers, longtime followers, and connections, obviously on LinkedIn, not Twitter. These are what we like to call social signals. Essentially, when someone likes your post, when they follow you on LinkedIn, follow you on Twitter, do any of these things, that's them saying, hey, I like this guy's post. He has good content. I like his profile. Let me give him a follow. I like what he's doing. I'm interested in him. But 99% of the time, they're not going to go ahead and just book a call with you up front. They might want to. They might have that need. But like I said, 99% of the time, there's too much friction there for them to actually go to your Calendly link, read through your landing page, understand what you do, what pain points you solve, and, pricing and all of that. So they're just like, I'll just follow this guy and read his content. And maybe down the line, you'll nurture them enough. But if you just see one of these social signals, it's a green light to DM them, and, see what's up, because you're hitting them at the peak of their interest. Why wait and for them to get nurtured 6 months down the line by your content, when you can just DM them and see what's up, see if they're actually interested. So yeah, you need to be tracking all of these and DMing everyone who follows, comments, likes your posts, etc., etc. Lastly, on DMs, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's gonna completely hurt my brand. It looks desperate. It looks salesy." Here's the analogy I like to use. Let's say you walk into a Walmart and you are looking for the milk. You need milk, but you're not sure where it is. You could ask an employee, but there's just too much friction there a lot of times. Like, you don't want to be social. You don't want to, go up and risk having an awkward conversation. There's a lot of variables at play when, you got to go. I know that's overthinking, but that's how humans think. They a lot of times they're more antisocial. They don't want to go talk to the employee, so they're like, all right, just forget it. I won't even grab the milk. Let's say in an alternate universe, you walk in and immediately the employee comes up to you and says, "Hey, is there anything you're looking for? Can I help you find anything?" You're obviously going to be like, you're 10 times more likely to say, "Actually, yes, I'm looking for the milk. Could you please help me?" And in that case, the employee solved your problem. He outreached to you, and now both of you are walking away happier. I mean, Walmart got the sale and you got your milk. So it's like, if you have something that will help solve people's problems, why wouldn't you try to tell as many people as you physically could? I don't see that as salesy. I don't see it as desperate, especially if you have something worth providing. If you have an actual helpful service that could be of use for people. So yeah, I don't think outbound damages your brand, especially if you do it like with this framework, super personal, and you're not spamming scripts. Now, all that said, that's the playbook to LinkedIn. Mastering your content, mastering your DMs, and you're set. There's a lot of nuances within that, and actually making good content, writing good DMs that I can go over in future videos. But those are the two things you just need to nail. If you can, you will start booking calls with LinkedIn, especially if you have authority, case studies, results, if you have a proven offer. There's no reason you won't be able to. So 5 focused posts every week. And when I say focus, remember, I mean case studies, your expertise, your opinions on your niche, expert insights, anything that your ICP and your ICP only cares about, not other marketers, not other competitors, just your ICP. 800 outbound connection requests a month. This is the cap that LinkedIn allows you. You want to use all of them. And this is going to be a majority of your DMs that you're sending to connection requests, because you can't, you're not always going to get 100 likes on a post. So you do want to DM your likers and commenters and profile viewers, but a majority of your DMs on LinkedIn are going to come from people who accept your connection requests, and you're sending them blank, and then sending the DM once they accept. You should see about a 40 to 50% acceptance rate. Third, 10 to 20 multi-thread conversations per day, starting 10 to 20 per day with likers, commenters, profile viewers, connects. And when I say multi-thread, I just mean back to that framework where, hey, name, you do this for this company, right? And then insert compliment, insert, observation, etc., etc. That's what we call a multi-thread conversation that Ty Frankel coined. Shout out him again. But yeah, starting 10 to 20 of those per day with everyone who connects with you, profile views, etc. Bonus, doing this on Twitter as well. Especially if you're an e-com, I don't see why you wouldn't. Twitter, there are tons of e-com brands, B2B businesses as well on there. It's a little harder to get reach on your posts, but that comes with time. But yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't do it on Twitter. But yeah, that's essentially the playbook. Try this out for a month. See what happens. See if you book a few calls. If you do it right, there's no reason you won't. And yeah, I appreciate you watching, and hope you have a great rest of your day. Cheers.